All right, live again here in the days leading up to the Spirituality for Beginners beta program launch. I'll be doing a Facebook Live at least once per day. And these ones are going to be relatively short, just some different, sometimes people are asking questions or making comments, or sometimes I'm just inspired to share something. So in this particular case, it's really just, why is it called Spirituality for Beginners? What's the purpose of the name? And specifically, I used the numerical 4, the number 4, instead of the word FOR. I used the number 4, spirituality for beginners. Why is that? Why did I choose that? And it's interesting because first and foremost, it's more unique to frame it that way, just in terms of the writing. But I was thinking about that, and I was over time kind of fitting different things into a box, and I was really using my mind more so. And I just said, you know what, forget it. I don't know why I'm using the 4. I'm just using the 4. And then it really came to me today. Actually, it's through inspiration. And someone had also made a comment about the idea that being for beginners, and they're more advanced, or they have a depth of spiritual knowledge, which many of you likely do have some exposure to spirituality, if you're connected with me in any way. And first and foremost, the purpose of the numerical 4, what I realized today, and a lot of this stuff, all the information in the course has come from my experience with spirituality. It's just, a lot of it's come through downloads of information, if you will, from my connection with the spiritual realm. And that's been more and more exaggerated with Gail's passing, and her speaking to me literally every day. The depth of connection and communication typically is stronger when I'm doing a reading or a session with someone. She really comes through super strong. Their whole purpose on the side of spirit is to serve, and they're so eager to serve and to help others. So that's going to be a big part of the program, right? Is even some individual assistance, people that need extra assistance, even actually, this is just coming into me right now, but kind of as a bonus for signing up to the beta program, I'm going to say for the first 5 people, I'll do a with Gail being the channel, so to speak, or the knowledge coming from the spiritual side. I'll do a reading, a session. I've already had the privilege of doing some of these. And Gail just prompted me to do it. A lot of it's been just complimentary while I'm getting attuned to the whole thing. But yeah, I will do 5 complimentary of these readings for the first 5 people that sign up for it. So again, it's $47 for the beta program, and that's going to be 4 modules. Over about a week and a half, plus at least 1 bonus module, likely more, and unlimited email support. So obviously, this is poised for anyone that, if it resonates with you, just go for it. I mean, it's not meant to be something you need to take out a loan for or anything like that. So the number 4, what is it? And I mean, this is what it means to me. This is how it comes into my mind. It's a square, 4 corners. And 4 corners, what's that signify? Well, that's a foundation, 4 pillars. And it occurred to me today that this is really a foundation of spiritual understanding, which is so critical if you're a human, and everyone has their awakening. Everyone has their time where they're going to reveal the truth to themselves. Of course, it's an orchestration purely as with you as the director. You're choosing your timing. It's all set in stone from my perspective. The whole timing of it, the script, your personal agenda in the life that you're living, it's here, it's now, it's created by you. And we can access that blueprint to really understand the path we're on and the direction that we're going in. And that's extraordinarily valuable, of course. If you can kind of know what your future is ahead of time and kind of see how things are going to play out and see how people are going to be, it's just helpful. I mean, of course, there's always room for spontaneity. We always are surprised delightfully or with amazement in terms of the gifts that life gives to us. Of course, with Gail's situation in passing, I had no idea she was going to pass. It wasn't even apparent to me until a couple days before. I thought maybe she might actually have one of these near-death experiences and come back, as many people have. When she first was admitted to the hospital, I certainly didn't think that she would not be leaving the hospital. It didn't even occur to me. So that was, surprise. And these are gifts. These are wonderful gifts to know this. And at the same time, we can be prepared for all of this, and we can receive it from an inspired place. We can receive it from a place of gratitude and thankfulness versus condemnation, versus feeling like a victim, versus any form of judgment. And if you're a human, you have judgments. That's the bottom line. There's people that are, very spiritually advanced in terms of their applications and things. And, they have a deep understanding of this, and they have a foundation. And how do you build upon that foundation? How do you really eliminate or delete or let go of every single judgment, every heavy emotion, every form of negativity? And that's by having a firm foundation, a go-to, particularly when the ego goes into a storm, so to speak. What do you go to? What's your go-to foundation when you're not able to mentally compose yourself immediately, or you get caught in the storm? You might only do it for a second. What do you go to? What's your go-to in terms of that foundation? So that's really what this fundamentally is going to be designed to be, is having that foundation. And kind of a preview of that right now is 3 steps. And we'll be honing these 3 steps and going into a greater depth of detail in the program. But first and foremost, again, my perspective, don't believe a thing I say. I'm only speaking from my own perspective here. I'm only speaking from my own experience and what's worked for me and what I've been through in this human life. So step 1 is of the foundation is to really, when you realize you're having a judgment, no matter how subtle, if you can scan your mind right now, if you can even think of a judgment, judgment's there. And, it might just be a passing thought like a cloud, and it might mean nothing to you. And, that's obviously a sign of your knowledge, of your higher intelligence, of how you have awareness, viewing life from the mountaintop. Or you might come up with a judgment and it might kind of trigger you a bit. And then, great, hallelujah, pop the champagne, because that's great news too, because that's an opportunity to heal your mind and to go from negative, which is just another way of saying separate, really separate from yourself, separate from beingness, separate from source. And you can transform that and become positive, which, how do you say, positive from my definition is just becoming whole, becoming complete, becoming one with all that is. And so step 1 is just stop beating yourself up about your judgment, right? If the judgment's there, the judgment's there, and then there's obviously at times too where it's not yourself that you think you're beating up, but you think you're beating up someone else in terms of your judgments about them. Basic example, someone cuts you off in traffic, someone, not much of that now, obviously being homebound. You see things, you judge things. Why is that person doing that? Might only be for a moment, but then you're beating them up with your thoughts, right? So you just, can you let that go? And can you let it go more? And can you let it go a little bit more? And then you move into, okay, well, what's, beating myself up, beating up someone else with my thoughts. What's that about? Really about disapproval. I learned all this from my 2 mentors, Lester Levinson and Larry Crane, and, phenomenally successful men in their spiritual development as well as their material mastery of the world. Stop disapproving, right? That's, if you go a level higher than beating yourself up, it's really about disapproval, disapproving of yourself, disapproving of others. disapproving of a situation. And you notice if you're disapproving of something, doesn't feel nice, right? There's a heaviness there. There's a judgment there. There's criticism there. Something should change about the situation. I don't approve of it. Maybe it makes me feel unsafe, like I'm lacking security. So can you let go of disapproval? And a little more, and a little more, and you let that go. Then you move right on to step 3. Now, you can only move to step 3 once you've cleared out some of the garbage. One of the main challenges with spiritual work is something called spiritual bypass, where people want to go straight to step 3. They want to immediately make things look good in their life. And sure, you can turn that around. And if you're more advanced, you can do that more quickly. But if the garbage is there, the garbage is there. And you can temporarily maybe feel a little bit better about it. But it's a good analogy from one of Gary Renard's books, Disappearance of the Universe. It's like moving furniture around in a burning house. Right? The house is still burning. It might temporarily look better. It's still burning down though. So you want to clear out that garbage first, which is let go of beating yourself up or the other person. Of course, there's really no other person out there. It's just you. It's just a mere reflection of who you are. Life is a hall of mirrors. Everything is reflecting back to your own thoughts and feelings, etc. We'll be discussing that at a deeper level through the course. And then you let go of the disapproval. Okay, now you've cleared out a little garbage. Now you can give yourself approval. Now you can really go into the idea of appreciation, thankfulness, etc. And it's good. You can do that for minutes. You can do it for hours. As you get more advanced in the practice, you might even do it for days, where you just give an approval to yourself, give an approval to others, just because, not for any reason because they earned it. That's the ego structure. I'm giving you approval because you earned it. That's our education system. That's our promotional system in business, etc. Because of what you physically achieved, because of what you did for me or what you did for the company, what you did for somebody else. You sacrificed yourself. That's all ego, right? No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's a limitation on the infinite being that you are, that all of us are, that all of us have access to this infinite ocean of appreciation and approval for ourselves and others. And doesn't it feel good to give yourself some approval? You can even just try it as you're listening. Just give yourself a little approval, and a little bit more, and a little bit more approval. You might feel your heart open. You might feel other energy centers in your body open up. You might feel your head open up, your mind opens. Your mind becomes more free. You're giving yourself approval. Why? Because there's an infinite sea of approval available for you to give to yourself and anyone at any given moment. And at the very least, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel less stressed. This releasing process, which we'll be discussing in great detail through the course, originally discovered by Lester Levinson in 1952. There's been several university studies conducted on it, analyzing the impact it has on the brain and the body, and the state of relaxation that it has on the nervous system. And it's validating. And I mean, you can feel it. It's tangible straight away. The moment you drop your judgments, the moment you drop your disapproval, you start to feel a little lighter, a little happier. The moment you give yourself some approval, or you give the other person some approval, or the situation some approval, you feel a little lighter, a little happier. And all you need are those baby steps. It amounts to something. So a practice, it's a skill just like anything else. Albeit, in my experience, it'll get you further ahead than any other skill I've learned. And that's my experience. Like I said, don't believe a thing I say. It's for you to demonstrate and prove to yourself. And that's what this course is going to be all about, is you demonstrating that this foundation, spirituality for beginners, can work for you and can bring you greater results in your life. So foundation, you might have heard the term, you can only build as high as your foundation is deep. And you might have heard the term that a real master has simply mastered the basics of their practice, right? Whether it's kung fu, martial arts, writing, piano. In this case, it's spirituality. And, it might seem for some people totally invalid to have this skill, because what does it really do for me? I just feel happy all the time. What is that? But if you really look at like, what are we all looking for here in life? Isn't that really what we're looking for? Isn't the reason why we do everything just to attain some degree of satisfaction or happiness? And then the fear comes up, okay, well, if I'm just happy now, I'm not going to do anything. And that's not true either. That's just limitation, right? I've been through that. It's still present, still working with it sometimes, for sure. And that comes up for a lot of people. We'll work through that. Whatever comes up for you around these concepts, we're going to work through it as a group, collectively, with my support. And we'll be able to help one another. As you become proficient in this process, you'll be able to help one another. It'll be incredible. So, in summary, why is it called Spirituality for Beginners? Because it's a foundation. It's a foundation to build on. And if you're already well-versed in spirituality, it's going to be a foundation to review and build from, build upon, take to the next level. It's simple to have spiritual progress, but the ego can complicate it. Life can be a big complication if we allow it to be. This course is going to keep it simple. Spirituality can be seemingly complex. A Course in Miracles, one of my foundational spiritual studies, as thick as a Bible, something like 660 pages of pretty fine print on very thin paper. Highly complex. Its concepts are simple, but it understands that the ego mind is very complex, and it's not for everyone to study that particular path. It's helpful to me, and I'm going to take everything I learned from that and everything else and pour it right into this course to keep it as simple and easy as possible. Step by step, 1, 2, 3. 3 steps, to feeling lighter, feeling happier, and eventually having a state of permanent happiness without sorrow. So, if this speaks to you to any degree, I encourage you, let's do this together. Let's be on the journey. I look forward to your comments, to your feedback. I look forward to seeing you in the course. Much love, and bye for now.